We didn't discuss how we would start this.
Bitch, I'm from Texas.
We talked about Frey Ranch before in the Nevada episode of the show.
Nevada extravaganza, I think
Yeah.
we called it.
Yeah, so Frey Ranch, if you're not aware, out of Fallon, Nevada, literally grain to glass distillery. So they grow all their own grain personally.
And their big claim to fame is that all their offerings, unless denoted otherwise, are for grain,
For
which, as you have expressed to me, is extremely difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it's really tough to pull off. What is a four grain? Corn, rye, wheat, malted barley.
And at least one of those don't usually agree with each other unless you are very judicious in your blending.
Yeah, the wheat and the rye don't always play well together. So the fact that these guys kind of hang their hat on being a four grain unless otherwise noted. The interesting thing with what we're doing today is, so we've got a couple different bottles. So the one that you've got is a single barrel store pick from our buddy Issa Corey in Las Vegas. He's very good friends with the Frey Ranch people. We've bought,
Quite a few.
Can't tell you how many of these we bought and then drank, because his picks are really awesome. Now his is a single barrel.
Notably due to the size of the store, whereas the Frey Ranch that is in front of it is the Specs store pick that we picked up in San Antonio the other day.
Yep.
And it is a very small
batch.
which is just a play on words.
Which means what?
Nothing.
Nothing. So the difference between the two is that Issa's pick, he probably went up there and selected a barrel. Where because Specs is so big, they probably got samples of different blends of
They got sent in a really cool
of
box.
their whiskeys, right? And then they're like, I'll take 1,000 bottles of that, or whatever it be, however many barrels it is. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of try them both and see what the difference is, since we know that this one's a true single barrel. And we just did an episode with the JT Melick
on store picks.
On store picks, which a lot of them are single barrels compared to the standard offering. Now we don't have the standard offering, but when you see stuff like this, because we actually paid a good amount of money for this, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that 90?
I think it was it was 90. Yep, 62.97, so 125 proof.
Shoot, Frey Ranch is so cool. It's easy to do.
So yeah, I just wanted to try it. Now Issa's pick is 121 proof.
It's also very old. You've had it for quite a while now.
A couple years, yeah. So let's try the Frey Ranch very small batch store pick. Yeah, a little funky.
Very funky.
Right? A lot of that's really... But when you go to the single barrel, I say this one's a little funkier.
Way funkier.
And what's the funky note? That's probably that wheat, right?
I believe you affectionately refer to it as barnyard.
Barnyard, yep. Which can be, especially with wheated bourbons, you can get
hay.
That hay, wet alfalfa. Yeah. Kind of, you're in a barnyard. You open up the doors at the barn and
wet grass.
But I tell you what, this
it's nice though. It has that sweet. It smells younger. I get a hint of that effervescence.
Hear me out on this though.
I'm all ears.
Cream corn. Like a can of cream corn. Like before I mix it with the cornbread mix, when I add the cream corn. So I'm getting a cream corn, a little bit of funkiness.
Let's not waste any more time.
A little bit of like a cinnamon too, almost like a red hot. That's weird.
I could see that, but I don't know if I'm misidentifying that as rice fudge. A lot of rice spice.
Woo. Yeah, that's
a lot of rice spice.
A lot of rice spice, a lot of cinnamon. Wow.
Weird.
Wow.
Weird that they would go with that. I would have expected them to lean more on the wheat.
Yeah. Wow. So the blend they chose leans, it's definitely more more bourbon-esque on the palate. Rye spice, a lot of cinnamon.
That helps that it's like all Frey Ranch picks. It's a proofy lady.
Yeah.
Sitting at 125.94.
Yeah. 100%. It's definitely a proofy gal, but even for 125 proof, that comes off hot and spicy.
Interesting. So this is a demonstration of how they worked around the 4 grain for this particular release. Lean more on the rye.
Lean more on the rye, yeah.
Whereas on the nose, you get a lot of that wheat.
Yeah, so it's super interesting. And
Although on the retro, I get less of the wheat now that I know what it is going to taste like.
Yeah, but I still get
it's still there.
I still get like a wet grass.
It
like
smells like a freshly mowed.
Yeah, like you mowed the yard Friday and Saturday morning you go out there and your grass is all wet.
I know what you're talking about because I smell the exact same thing. Yeah. So I don't really get it on the palate. It's primarily rye spice.
No, the rye just like overwhelms whatever the wheat did on the nose. Oh, that's super interesting.
Weird pick for specs.
Yeah.
So
that's much more different than any Frey Ranch I've had.
Fun fact about us, for those of you just tuning in, we don't expect a lot from specs. You worked for specs. Maybe. Allegedly. Yeah.
And some of their picks can be very hit or miss.
But they're a big box store. That's rather impressive.
That's wild. I'm actually really glad we bought that.
That's really cool.
Let's just for fun try our buddy's pick.
You still get the wheat.
Because you still get that little bit of
the funkiness.
That barnyard funkiness.
But it's much more muted.
Yeah, and there's only a couple of proof points different, right?
This one is
120, 120 and a half.
121.
Okay. And then
60.
And the specs is 125.
The spec is higher proof.
Yeah. I always love Frey Ranch. It's
really cool.
It's so complex and so different.
I hope we have the opportunity to go and visit them. That'd be cool.
For sure. See how you still get a little bit of cinnamon and rice spice, but it's tamped way down. So it leans more on and that's the really cool thing about 4 grains, because you get the corn and like the wheated softness, and then you get the rice spice and the cinnamon. But then on the palate, on the back of the palate, it's just like the cinnamon just jumps out, right?
What do you find to be the main difference between the small batch and the single barrel?
So the main difference for me is just with the single barrel was how the wheat actually goes from the nose and it transfers over to the palate.
Right, it's still there in the palate.
Yeah. That's why I said it goes from like a sweet corn, like almost like a cream corn, to like the smoothness that you would find in a wheated bourbon. And then it ramps up the spice with the rye and the cinnamon. And then on the back of the palate, it's just like somebody's throwing like cinnamon, like candies at you, right? As you're like, I'm just trying to swallow it. And they're like, no, here's some more, take some more. Which is, once again, super good. But I'll tell you, I'm actually impressed that Specs picked something that's...
I'm impressed at how weird it is.
Yeah, that's kind of left field.
It's very left field.
Yeah, like I still get like cream corn, but now I'm getting more like cinnamon and almost a little butterscotch.
Funny thing is, I'm getting more of the cream of corn that you mentioned.
Yeah. I'll try it again.
A lot of rice spice.
Yeah. She drinks definitely hotter, especially for a proof snob like I am. She drinks hotter than 125, and that's just 100% the rice spice. So this blend, whatever they chose, had far more rye in the mash bill than the wheat.
This is extremely interesting. This, I think, is a much more, how you say, consistent bottle.
Yeah, well, they're both interesting in different ways. Like especially having a background with Frey Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Like to try something like this that's kind of a little like once again left field kind of thing. It's like, holy crap! Like there's a lot going on in a different way than our buddy's single barrel, where it's like that to me is like the best representation of a four grain.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get
where it all harmonizes.
The corn influence, the wheat influence, the rye, and the malted barley.
Whereas the small batch from Specs is really leaning into how even if it doesn't harmonize, it can still be interesting.
Yeah, it's still super interesting, but
it makes sense that a regular 4-grain isn't all that popular because it's weird.
It's just different.
I mean weird in a good way.
Yeah, and I think the more... This drove me nuts at the store, but the more people sort of get out of their comfort zone or get out of their lane and step out and try some different stuff here and there, and then really like think about it and understand and why is this different, and why do I like it, why don't I like it, like what's weird about it, what's not weird about it, and then do your homework and then like really figure out. Because I think what that does for people is that eventually expands your brain to where you can try all sorts of random different stuff, right? And be like, oh, well, I like this for this. I like this for this. I don't like this for this, right?
It's a more complete appreciation of the craft where you can appreciate it for its own sake. It's no different than movies. You can appreciate a thriller like an Alfred Hitchcock picture, or you can appreciate a really sappy rom-com as long as they're done well. Like people ask me what kind of movies I like, and my answer is I like good movies.
Yeah,
as long as they're executed well.
Right. Yeah, no, I fully agree. And in this experiment, this is pretty neat. Like to be fair, I've never had a store pick, which is quote unquote very small batch. Like all the Frey Ranch stuff I've ever had
has been a single barrel.
They've been single barrels, because it's like when you start at a 10 on the meter, it's tough to go back to other things.
It's tough to backpedal.
Yeah. And at my age, it's really tough to backpedal. So, because this one was, I'm glad we bought it. B, it's super interesting, especially when you can compare it. Was it expensive?
Definitely, but it's Frey Ranch.
Yeah, but it's a craft distiller. You're supporting, a company that's not owned by some big conglomerate, And once again, these guys up in Fallon, Nevada, which is northwest Nevada on the very, very top side, they're doing everything. They're growing their own grain. They're milling their own grain. They're doing all their distillation. The only thing they're not doing is milling their own barrels, right? So they're not coopering their own barrels. They buy the barrels, but
because can you imagine trying to do that on their property? Well,
there's no oak trees.
Try growing an oak tree in Nevada.
In Nevada, it's not going to happen. But yeah, these guys I'm really excited with what they're doing.
Big fan. I'm glad they're so successful. I hope they never sell out. That was an interesting store pick from Specs.
Yep.
I think Corey's is the overall better, but that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of doing the A and B comparisons,
of course.
Right? So don't, and that's the other thing. Don't think because you had one offering that the other offering is going to be the exact same, because as we just figured out, they're
pretty different.
They're similar, but they can be wildly different.
Cut from the same cloth, but to a different degree.
Sure. It's like wearing a t-shirt where one armpit you don't put any deodorant on, and one armpit you do. Now, I'm not saying they smell, but they're going to be different.
They're going to be different.
Right.
They're going to be different.
Right. And that's, I think, the fun, which is a fucking completely ridiculous analogy, but you're welcome.
I'm with you.
You're welcome. But yeah, that's the cool thing about these things is, so if you haven't done it before, give it a try. Even if you find a store pick and you find a regular uncut, just a standard offering.
Make a party out of it.
Yeah.
Invite
some
a
friends
couple friends over, see if you can spot the difference.